Why
Yeah,
don't you ride around the lake?
I do actually. But,
You do? Yeah.
Yeah. But today I was looking for something a little flatter, and there's a nice route out there that I do, and did a little 20-miler, and I'm only on 53 for about an eighth of a mile, something like that.
You should. What do you have to report to Chris Fairchild on riding Route 53 in Fluvanna County? You got something to tell him?
Yeah, get out there on a bike with me there, brother. Him and I are a bit competitive.
Oh,
yeah, you should have.
I can tell just from seeing the show.
Yeah, you should have seen us run marathons and half marathons together.
Oh, you guys did them together?
Oh yeah,
Fairchild's good people.
He and I, I've known Chris for
a long time.
over 3 decades.
Yeah.
But
What's the age gap there?
Oh, I'm considerably older than him.
What is it?
10 plus, I think.
Okay.
I think he around 10 maybe. I think he just turned 50, and I'm awfully close to 60 on that end of it. But yeah, and he's we're both
Very competitive.
both type A people, and yeah. Great show on yesterday. I just
thank
wanted
you.
to start off. I was working from home yesterday.
We're actually getting some feedback as we speak about that.
Yeah,
and I got some feedback last night, Judah,
Good.
On yesterday's show. Job well done. We'll continue it today, but before we do, Real Talk with Keith Smith is going to begin, and it's the Friday edition, and it's going to be Dynamite.
Dynamite. Who did Dynamite? Who said Dynamite?
Oh, come on now. That's the easiest answer ever,
That is
Judah.
the easiest answer of the
Dynamite.
Dynamite. Come on,
JJ.
JJ.
Good times.
Good times.
Dynamite. All right, Judah, let's rock and roll.
JJ Walker.
Good Friday morning, guys. I'm Jerry Miller, and welcome to Real Talk with Keith Smith here on the I Love CVille Network. Thank you kindly for joining us. A glorious Friday at the end of a short week, a 4-day work week. Yet another reason I love one of the best holidays out there, the 4th of July. A lot to cover on today's program. If you watched Wednesday's show, we had a friendly debate comparing previous years and transactions, inventory sold. This year is 2022, and we're going to take a look at how the first half of 2022 has stacked up to some latter years, 2021 and 2019 specifically. Keith is going to position data from 18 and 19 to justify his argument. I'm going to say that is antiquated and dated data of, frankly, 3 years old. We're going to see how this goes. The show is brought to you by Yes Realty Partners.
We're going to bring in Liza.
And Keller Williams Alliance. Judah had some thoughts after yesterday's show he wanted to pass on to you as well.
Yeah, sure.
Concerns that he had about the real estate market. But Judah, why don't we go to the studio camera and let's welcome the star of the show, the executive producer, Keith Smith, to Real Talk. How are you?
Good. I didn't realize we got to get boxing gloves. That would be a great...
Well, this was your idea. You did realize this. You texted me this and emailed it to us.
Yeah, me and my ideas. They tend to get
This was your idea.
Sometimes. So how about them Mets? How's those Mets doing right now?
The Mets are doing, how are the Mets doing?
I know, that's a great question. I know, I always say, how about those Mets, but how they're doing. And Judah, hey, again, a belated happy birthday, and I hope you enjoyed your little evening out on, where'd you go?
Continental Divide.
Yeah, thank you. I went to Continental Divide, had a great time. Amazing food, great drinks.
What'd you have to drink?
I started off with a spicy margarita.
Oh, you got it. Good.
Yeah.
Did you get it with the spice in the bottle and squirt it into the
He
bottle?
said spicy margarita, and I started sweating already.
I see that. It's a very good margarita. Did you get it with the squirt bottle with the hot sauce?
We got squirt bottles of hot sauce, but I didn't add any more spice to it.
Oh, the spice level was good.
My dad asked him for the hottest salsa that they had.
It's pretty hot.
And they brought him a squeeze bottle that had a piece of tape on the side with marker written in that said danger.
Yeah, right. That's what I get. So I squirt the danger sauce into the spicy margarita when it's served,
So it's like extra spicy.
and then stir that danger sauce into it. That danger sauce is no joke at Continental Divide.
I didn't think about it, but I did try the danger sauce, and it was hot.
Oh my God!
Hence the name
But-
danger,
Yeah,
by the way.
it's
But-
extremely hot.
My dad and I looked at each other and were like, it could have been a lot worse.
Oh wow!
Well, everything could have been a lot
Yeah.
worse.
The New York Mets, by the way, are 52-31 overall. They're first in the division,
Thank you.
the National League East. They have a 3.5 game lead over my team, the Atlanta Braves. Keith Smith.
Oh, you're a Braves fan.
I'm an Atlanta Braves fan because the TBS and all the games were showing after school at like 4:35 p.m.
I'm a Mets fan because I got to see Willie Mays play.
I know because
And
you're from the area.
I just never kind of pivoted away once that. So, Judy, you had a couple of real estate questions. What's on your mind? Let's see if we can kick it off that way, and we'll get into some
I
year
think
over year.
his concern was what we were talking. I don't want to speak for you. Was the inventory numbers and the health of the market? Is that what the trepidation was?
Yeah. I mean, that's. I think I've asked some of the questions a little bit before, but that's a pretty good summary.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Charlottesville,
Let's go.
no new construction, single family detached, right? So I crunched numbers on that, and I may or may not have looked into 18 and 19. Just
I know
may-
you did,
may-
but those are very old now.
Well, they're old and they're not old, so I think we'll go into an argument on that, or a discussion on that.
Okay.
But let's just take a quick look at volume, right?
Yeah.
Not necessarily numbers, but volume on that end of it. And the percentage difference year over year is not as great as what I thought they were going to be.
Okay.
So Charlottesville, single family detached, no new construction because there's really none in Charlottesville anyway, but I'm kind of factoring that out. 2022, there was 238 units sold. 2021, there was 243. So that's only about 2% difference, right? Which is, I would expect that number to be bigger. So when I started taking a dive into each individual jurisdiction, some of them were in these 30s and the 40s, and we'll talk about that, the percentage difference. But the city of Charlottesville was only about 2% difference. Interesting on the price difference, the median sales price in 2022 was $467. Median sale price in 2021 was $460, so that's about 1.5%, 1.5% difference. So the city of Charlottesville is pretty consistent. And the reason I looked at 2018 and 19, I just wanted to see what was the volume at that particular point. So 2018, the volume is the city of Charlottesville was 240. So I've been always saying this current market feels a lot like a 2018 market as far as volume goes, but the math is huge difference.
So response to that. Here's my response to that. 2022 we're 6 months
Same
into
days on
2022.
market, by the way, is 18.
Halfway through the year. The first 90 days of 2022 was gangbusters. We're not going to see the true lag in the market until the last 6 months of the year.
So we're going to drag out the crystal balls for that.
The market from January 1 until April 15th is very different than it is now. And it's stalled and slowed now as rates have risen.
Two things, rates.
Yeah.
And also it's the normal process. Right.
Well-
Normally this time of the year, it kind of slows down a little bit, but you're 100% right,
It's rates. It's rate driven here
which went down, by the way.
slightly. They're still pretty high compared to where they were at the beginning of the year.
So somebody can look this up, but I don't, but the rate in 2018 was about 4.5%. Right. So it's
2018 is 4.5 years ago.
I understand that.
That is an eternity.
It is, well, in this market, 30 days is an eternity.
Right. So how can we compare 2022 to 2018?
But can you compare it to 2021?
Yes, because it was last year.
Yeah.
That's like saying you can compare the house, you need a comp for a house, so you look at to the one next door. The year right next to 2022 is 2021.
And I don't disagree with that on the comps end of it. But what I'm looking for is indicators of what you just indicated, what the second half of 2020 is going to look like.
And I think I have a pretty good idea what it is.
I think it's going to look more like 18 than any other year in the last several years. That's what this is going to look like.
The second half of 2022 in real estate sales and transactions are going to, and I talked about this on Wednesday, have significant headwinds that are not comparable to 2018. Those headwinds are massive, significant inflation, geopolitical crisis, Russia, Ukraine, midterm elections. Granted, there was probably some kind of midterm in 2018. Still, the geopolitical war crisis, Russia, Ukraine, the inflation, the fuel, and the rates. These were not factors in 18 second half.
Don't disagree with any of that.
That's why these headwinds, I think, and I know this is a tough, I'll choose a different word. That's why I think the latter part is going to be, how would you characterize it? With those headwinds.
So what it's going to be is not a deflation. It's going to be an adjustment, right? The second half of the market is going to balance out. Anybody that's in the industry in the last 2 years, this is not normal. This is not the normal pace. But I'll tell you right now, at least us, we're as busy as we are now than we've ever been. And it's because people are out looking. I think what happened is, I really believe this.
You said yes last time you were 30% down year over year.
Yes, correct. We're 30%.
Then you're not as busy as you've ever been.
I was 30% down compared to last year, and last year is an anomaly.
So last year was the busiest you've ever been?
Actually, 2020.
Okay. So 2020 and 2021 were the busiest you've ever been, not now.
2021, we're off of 2021 numbers by about 30%, which I expect to pick up on the second half.
Okay, so that's not the busiest you've ever been.
Yeah, 2020. It's hard to nail a particular year because we basically when you hit October, the year's over.
Sure, because the closings happen the next year.
The closing happens in the next year, so you
Yeah.
can't really carve.
Neil Williamson calls it a market correction on the horizon.
Yeah. Well, so is that a bad thing or a good thing? So
How we got to this conversation was because on Wednesday I used the term, we're headed for a bear market.
Yeah.
And you did not like that.
Well, I didn't like that because it implies a stock market, right? And the bear market, at least in my vernacular, a bear market. So define a bear market.
Let's look at the exact definition of a bear market.
It's about 20% is the number.
Let's see. Exact definition.
So while you're doing that, Charlottesville, single family attached, these are townhomes.
About 20%.
Yeah, it's 20%. So it's interesting. So what I want to try to get to on this, we talk about this all the time. Real estate's 5 things, right? Location, price, features, conditions, and timing, right? So right now the location is becoming micro location.
Hyper-focused.
Hyper-focused.
I'm seeing that too.
Features and
Yeah.
conditions are also becoming that. So we'll just take Charlottesville real quickly. The city of Charlottesville, single family detached, if we're defining a bear market of 20% less than the year over year, right?
You're, from an inventory sales standpoint,
Just
is what I'm talking.
Just a number of units.
Number of units.
Got
I'm
it.
not talking price point
No,
here.
no.
Yeah.
We're on the same page.
Okay.
So single family detached is only 2% off.
Okay.
Would you take a
Which
guess?
speaks, which is credit for your argument.
But I'm gonna support your argument.
Okay.
Pick a number for single family attached year over year difference in the city of Charlottesville.
Good God, single family. I couldn't,
Just think of the number for deflation and add a little bit and you got
so
it.
you're what, 12%, 10%?
22% off. So
For bear. Yeah.
Fair, thank you.
Yeah.
Right. So what I wanted to have this discussion with you is painting a global picture is probably not really, in my opinion, the right way to look at it. So this is why you need a trusted advisor. This is why our phone is ringing off the hook like it hasn't in the first half of the year on it, or tweeting or whatever the messages are on it, on that end of it, because people want this information.
Yeah.
Single family attached, city of Charlottesville, it is a bull market right now. If we're using 20% as the rule, the attached product is 22%. Now the number is super low. 2022 there's only 36 units sold. In 2021 there was 45 units sold.
I mean, we're going to see. A lot of comments are already coming in. First,
Let's just buzz through this real quick.
Yeah.
Albemarle County,
yeah.
20% off. That's single family detached.
And you got to remember, the first 6 months of 2022, these numbers, half the 6 months, maybe 4 of the 6 months of
Had
2022
less than 3%.
had the historically low rates to
so
fuel
can I-
those sales.
So I kind of wanted to set up where we are now.
Yeah.
And then talk about, because I think the third quarter is going to be the quarter.
It's going to be paramount.
The third quarter is the quarter, and
Yeah.
then the issue with it is how many people are taking vacation, how many people not
Dude,
taking
vacations are off the chain right now.
Absolutely.
People are traveling. It's what we predicted on Real Talk.
Gas is coming down a little bit.
Yeah.
People are traveling. People
Yeah.
are not looking. And I will tell you, May, June, we're timing out. We're taking vacation. We're spending time with families. That's on the sales side and the buy side. Now they're like, okay, we're done with this.
Dan Pettit wants the attached number for Albemarle County. Attached total sales, Albemarle County.
Single family attached Albemarle County, no new construction. I'm pulling new construction out of it. Is 178 in 22. 216 to 21 is roughly 18%. So it's coming real close to your 20% mark. That's an 18% spread on it.
I'd be willing to put a bet down.
No. Do you want to hear a shocking number?
Yeah.
New construction attached. 54%.
Right. Dude, they've stopped doing it. Or they've moved away from this area to do development to another area.
Fluvanna County is 15% off.
Yeah. Why would somebody go down that road right now when costs of goods are so volatile?
Greene County is 15% off. Nelson County's taken a huge hit. We expected that. We talked about that.
What's Nelson?
45% off.
New construction.
No.
Or inventory.
What the percentage I'm rattling off quickly is each jurisdiction, single family detached, no new construction, just a volume perspective.
I'd be willing to bet you 2021 versus 2022. 2022 will have well over 20% less sales in 2022 versus 2021.
And again, globally, you're probably right.
I would even say, I'll even give it to you, Albemarle County will have over 20% less sales in 2022 versus
Louise is
2021.
18% off.
Yeah.
So we're hovering somewhere around that.
And Keith, those numbers are not actually indicative of what the year's going to be. Because
No, I
those
understand
numbers,
that. I
the
understand.
first 4 months were steroided numbers. The first 4 months were steroided by the interest rates.
So to my point, if I lumped in, because we started this conversation about Albemarle and Charlottesville together, right? So that was the first one I looked at. No new construction. This is everything. This is single family detached, single family attached. So if you lump that in, it kind of skews the numbers a little bit. It turns into collectively less than 15% difference between 2022 and 2021. But if you flip over to Charlottesville, it's 2%.
2% 2021 versus 2022.
It's 2%.
I would bet you, I would even be willing to bet that by the end of the year, Charlottesville is going to be at 20% reduction in inventory sold year over year. And it's at 2% right now. That's an 18% delta.
I don't think so.
You don't want to take that bet?
No.
You do not want to take that bet?
I don't think. You're saying it's going to be 20% off.
I'm saying
on December, on January, whatever, when we do the show.
The over-under on all these
I already bet my
jurisdictions.
mustache. What else have I got left to
The
bet?
over-under on all these jurisdictions
And I'm losing weight, so I can't bet that.
on inventory sold is 20% down. We put the threshold at 20% down.
Specifically where?
Any jurisdiction. Charlottesville's the best one right now, and it's at 2% down year over year. And I'm willing to bet you that it's going to get to 20% by the end of the year.
So what are we betting?
Well, we can figure out what we want to bet. Let's get to Yona's comments. Here's the whole premise of my take and the whole premises of Keith's take. The premise of my take is the first 6 months of 2022, the sales numbers were steroided. It was like smoke and mirrors. Because the first 4 months of 2022, the interest rates were generational historically low. Now they're going up, so you're seeing the transactions stall or slow. So we will really see the impact of inflation and the rising rates and the geopolitical turmoil in the latter part of 2022. Here's Yona Smith, the better 7/8. There are still enough buyers in the market looking for homes, and the inventory is still historically low. It's an ongoing seasonal adjustment that will allow buyers who have been losing out on multiple offers the chance to finally buy a home they want.
Spot
Want,
on.
and she did want in all caps. She is exactly right.
Yeah. So it goes back to my. Look, I love to bet, right? So
Yeah.
I'm in, right? But we need to. I think globally, it's the reason why I'm looking at 2018 and 2019, and I know that, and I'm just looking at it from a how a market performs overall, right? And that's a realistic expectation that we're back to that, because some of this, and we talked about this.
I don't
on Real-
understand the comparison to 2018. I don't even understand to 2019. We're not in the pandemic anymore in 2022.
Correct. So therefore, we're 2020, 2021. You almost got to check it out.
2020,
2021, and even parts of 2022. But that you got to check, because it was an unusual. We talked about it.
I understand the anomaly call, but eventually we got to start looking at the COVID data as the data and no longer the anomaly. To compare 2022 to 2018 is 4 years.
So I think the bet needs to be that by the end of 2022, I think the total volume sales will match either 18 or 19.
What's the total number of, okay, give me that number. What's the total number of sales, not new construction, in 2019? Total number.
Pick a jurisdiction, because I did it by jurisdiction.
Go Albemarle County.
No new construction.
In Albemarle County, 2019.
Here you go. 513 in 2022 and 518.
Well, 2019.
2019, 534.
Okay.
Close enough.
I mean,
Little
I will not take the bet if it's comparing it to 2019. I will take the bet if you're willing to compare the transaction data to 2021.
No, because 2021 is an anomaly as far as data goes.
Okay, I don't think we have a prop bet we can make
don't have
here.
a prop bet
Yeah,
on it. But the reason I'm throwing it out there is from a.
I think the best prop bet is comparing the data to the most recent year, as opposed to cherry picking a year that could potentially justify the bet for one person's side of the bet.
Yeah, I didn't cherry pick anything.
I know. I'm just busting balls. I'm busting balls.
Yeah, I didn't cherry pick anything. I'm literally, because the conversation that we have with our clients now is okay, if I buy now, what is my appreciation going to be?
Sure.
And so the appreciation would be more from a 2018, 2019
Right.
perspective moving forward. That's why those 2 years are so important to me in that conversation with our clients on that end of it. It's not last year.
Right.
Right. You're not appreciating double digits compared to last year. You will appreciate, 3, 4, 5, 6% moving forward. So the reason I won't take the bet is because 2021 was just
I understand.
Off the charts, not normal.
Yeah, you say it's an anomaly. Here's an interesting bet. The last
I'm not betting my bike, by the
The
way.
last 6 months of 2022, the last 6 months of this year, will the last 6 months of this year have the lowest amount of sold inventory of any 6-month period over 2018, 19, 20, and 2021 and 2022? So that's 5 years.
So it's
The last 6 months of 2022, I'm going to bet will have the lowest amount of sold inventory over the last 5 years of any 6-month period of time.
explain that a little slower to me.
So this year, 2022,
I got that.
you take the last 6 months of the year,
Got that.
that period of time
Got it.
will have the least amount of inventory sold over the 2018, 19, 20, 21, and 22
In the car footprint.
in the car
right? So
footprint for a 6-month period of time.
So you get to pick if it's lower than any one of the years.
Of 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22, the last 6 months of this year will be the lowest amount of inventory sold in a 6-month period of time over any 6-month period of time you can pick from 2018, 19, 20, 21, and 22. You know you're going to take out 2020 and 2021. You already know you're going to take out 2022 the first 6 months. I will put that bet down.
Yeah. So we're having a VIC of some sort, or it's like 1 unit. Is there a percentage difference, or it's 1 unit?
No,
it's 1
it's
unit.
just
So
1 unit, yeah.
if it's one, if I'm up 1 unit, or
Yeah,
down
you
1
win the
unit,
bet. Or if you're down a unit, you lose the bet.
I'll take that bet. What do we bet?
Are you sure you want to take
Yeah,
that
I'm
bet?
just doing it for fun.
That's not a good bet to take right there.
What the
That's
hell?
not a good prop bet for you to take.
No, because I think
You see the headwinds.
Yeah,
Daniel Pettit just said Robin will win the bet.
yeah, I think we're close. We'll be close, right? But it'll be it'll be.
I'm trying to talk you out of the bet because I know I'm going to win the bet.
Yeah. Well, I just like.
You're
to
my
do it.
friend.
Well, thank you. I like to do it anyway because I like to buy you bourbon anyway. So, but
Thank you. So does Judas like Jerry? Stop talking him. Take the bet. That's what Judas.
Well, I think
Judas Facebook messaging. Take the bet. Take the bet. Do you agree? Do you agree with that?
So it's
Michael Plecker's chiming. There's a lot of people chiming in. Finish your thought, Keith.
It's the 1 unit differential is the problem I've got with that. It's got to be within 2% or
No,
something.
it does not. It's a prop bet. You can structure a prop bet any way you want. That's why it's a prop bet.
Yeah, well, that's the reason I'm throwing 2% in it. I'm trying to negotiate with you here. Yeah, we're going to be dangerously close. So
what 6-month period of time is going to come?
So if we would have done this bet,
Yeah.
I would have lost the first half of the year because
and the last 6 months of this year is going to be lower than the first half.
because we're 5 units off between 2022 and 18.
Okay, so is 18 likely going to be the 6-month period of time that you would pick for the comparison for the last 6 months of
Yeah,
this year?
I would pick 18.
Okay, and what 6-month period of time? So you only have the first half of 18 data, right?
Because the second half hasn't happened yet.
No, second half of 18 has happened.
Oh, no, yeah, got it.
Do you have the second half of 18 data?
I didn't do that.
Okay.
And I won't do that because that'd be cheating.
No, would it? The second half of 18?
We just set the number. Somebody, so I'll work that out. But
Yeah.
anyway, this was a continuation of Wednesday. I'm sure there's a bunch of people that are chiming in.
Oh, your Yes Realty Partners charter members are all chiming in right now. Christopher Eagle, Michael Plecker, everybo's chiming in.
Oh God, am I getting into trouble?
God, Michael Plecker is giving you a little zing right here. He says Keith is placing bets on the 2021 Redskins Super Bowl to win during the NFL strike in 1987. I mean, it's a little talking on either side over there going on.
How about them Mets?
Kevin, the Mets are in first place in the NL East.
He was.
I looked it up.
He was a pitcher for them. Oh, it's catcher for them.
He was a catcher. So Kevin Higgins has got a comment from Greenwood, Virginia. Kevin, we love when you chime in. How has telework due to COVID impacted houses that are coming on the market to sell? Do you think more people don't have to move now when they take on new jobs with businesses out of the area? Isn't our new world a work from home one? Why sell and move if you don't have to, especially if you're in Seville and Albemarle County? What do you think about the work from home movement and how it's impacting inventory not coming on the market? It's an interesting take there.
It's having a huge impact. It's not only is it having a huge impact, it's also having on the buyer side a huge impact. That's our number one question is actually, what's the internet?
What's
service?
the fiber? Yeah, is that fiber?
What's the fiber on that? On the end of it, just to throw another number at it, back on Albemarle County sold single family detached, we're 20% difference in volume, but between 18 and 2022 it was $125,000 difference. So the units appreciated $125,000 in 5 years, on average. Median, actually it's median. That's taking out the high and the low. 125 grand in appreciation. It's a big number.
That's a huge number. Kevin Yancey's watching in Waynesboro. Well, we got a lot of stuff. Aaron King, hello in Scottsville. Kevin Yancey in Waynesboro says,
Hold on, I'm sweating because the bet's got me a little nervous.
He says, do not take the bet, Keith Smith. Fourth quarter,
I would only do it if there was a spread, but
he said fourth quarter 2022, you'll be seeing double-digit mortgage rates or close to it.
Yeah, we're not gonna. So, we're not gonna see second half 2022. It's going to be 2021 volume, right? So,
No.
Yeah, it's going to be closer to 18, and that's the point I'm trying to make.
What were the rates in 2018?
Under 5, 4.5-ish, something like that. Somebody can get on it. So,
Where was inflation in 2018?
Oh, it was 0. I mean, it might as well not even be.
It's like Trump was in office in 2018, right? Trump had it right at 2%
yeah,
inflation.
CPI was somewhere around 2%.
Yeah. So and there was no war in 2018.
Yes, there was.
There was a war like Russia-Ukraine?
No, but we were in Afghanistan.
Yeah, we were in Afghanistan, but it didn't have the same geopolitical collateral damage that Russia-Ukraine's having.
Yeah, but I think, I don't.
And the gasoline was not an issue in
The
2018.
gasoline was not an issue, and gas.
And the
was,
car supply chain issues was not an issue.
Supply, no-
Neither was the labor in
But to
2018.
Yona's point,
Or the cost of goods.
back on the buyer pool, there's enough buyers out there with capital, with cash, that can do this, and that's it. There just isn't simply enough product to buy. The conversation you were having yesterday, right? I chimed in following Sir Neil Williamson's thing.
He's watching.
More homes for everybody, right? There's just this inventory lack of it. 95% rental in the state of Virginia. Well, guess what, folks? We're the second highest cost of living in Virginia, have been the second highest cost of living in Virginia for as long as I can remember.
The stat he's referencing, we talked about yesterday on the show, Virginia, of anywhere in the Commonwealth, the Charlottesville area,
95%.
95% most expensive to live from a rent standpoint in the area.
We
That means
ju-
there's only of all the Commonwealth, only 5% of the Commonwealth is more affordable from a rent standpoint. That's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. It was a great conversation you two guys were having yesterday. So kudos to you guys on that conversation. I think a lot of great stuff came out in that convo. But the reality of it is there's just not enough of everything. And that's the why it's always, I've been here for 35 years. It's always kind of been difficult, right? As far as a housing perspective goes, this is just off the charts now at this particular point. I mean, as you know, I chair an affordable housing, the Piedmont Community Land Trust. This doubling of rates, we had 12 buyers that we don't have 12 buyers anymore.
Michael Plecker's ready to put a bet down with me. Michael Plecker, tell me what you want to bet. I'll bet with one of the best catchers that's ever come out of the Shenandoah Valley that made it to the New York Mets farm system, Mr. Fontana himself, Michael Plecker.
I would take it if we had a little bit of a spread, but if we don't,
What do you mean by a spread?
you know,
I don't even
a
understand what that
1%
means.
difference or 2% difference.
One unit is a spread. That's a spread.
Yeah, so I'm looking to grow the spread a little
Oh,
bit.
yeah, I understand. You understand. You're trying to backtrack the.
I'm just trying to grow the
You're
spread.
trying to back.
Just trying to grow the spread a little bit. That's all.
I think it's a very, very, very fair bet. I mean, here's.
Of course you do, because you're going to win it. But yeah, if it's just one unit, I'm not prepared to take that bet. It's sure as hell not going to be, as we know, as your point, it's not going to be the volume that was in last year.
Yeah.
Nowhere near it.
Yeah, that's why, and just because there are bearish headwinds in front of the market doesn't mean the market is going to experience a bubble or burst or collapse.
That was my concern
Yeah.
about going down that route last.
It just
time.
means that there are headwinds and this market is going to slow dramatically.
And that is why you need a trusted advisor. That's why, you know, the housing food chain that's running across the bottom of the screen, from Allied Property to American Pest, Interstate Service Company, Segura, Pearl, all these folks will help you do that. And that's where the skill sets start coming in. Somebody like Pearl, right? Woody Fincham, one of our sponsors, they did a white paper. They did a national appraisal in our region. Excuse me. It increases the value of a home by 5%, and this is where the skills need to come back into it. Let's face it, right? And I'll probably get myself into trouble again. Yeah. But let's call it what it is. 2021, 2022, the skill level to get.
Anybody could sell and buy homes in those years.
Well, anybody's a big word, but the level.
I've seen some of the people doing it.
Yeah, but the level of the level.
Let me just say that.
Yeah, the level of skill that is required and professional. Let me look at it this way. There's three things that pop up on my phone every morning. I talk about this all the time. Be professional, be caring, be trustworthy. This is a pro's market right now.
Oh yeah.
You need to be a pro to help Jerry and Judah and to move forward. And
People, this is interesting.
That's the point been trying to make.
I was having this conversation with a friend who's also a serial entrepreneur, and we were talking about opportunities that present
Does
themselves.
Captain Crunch and stuff like that?
What's that?
Does Captain Crunch and stuff
A
like
serial entrepreneur?
that? Yeah, it's a joke.
Oh,
It was a joke.
Gotcha. Cereal, because it's cereal. Cereal.
He laughed. He thought it was funny.
I think he's saying in his head that's a dad joke.
That's definitely a dad
That's
joke.
a dad joke. And we were talking about the opportunities that present themselves in down markets, bear markets, or recessions. And he made this comment. This guy is very successful, owns a handful of companies, many that, two of them that if I mentioned, people would recognize immediately. And he said that in a down market or a bear market or even a recessionary markets, the professional folks with talent capture share, and the professional folks that have been coasting go away. So the ones that have the talent and are serious about their business actually grow their business.
Maybe that's why our phone is ringing.
Can grow their business.
Maybe that's why the pros' phones are ringing, right? Because they want to cut through all the crap that's on that television on the screen there, right? All the 30-second, 15-second, 5-second sound bites, and maybe listen to a debate, because that's what we're doing here.
Yeah.
We're debating both sides, which I was actually excited about today because I wanted to have this debate with you on it. I'm being attacked by mosquitoes. I gotta. Is that in my contract?
What is he doing?
Mosquitoes are biting me.
There's mosquitoes in here? I don't
There's
see any
mosquitoes in here. I think we got to renegotiate our
Do you
contract.
see a mosquito?
I haven't seen one.
I don't see any mosquitoes.
Well, maybe it's just me going.
I think that's your ATT over there. John Blair, good to see you, my friend.
Yeah.
Welcome to the program.
So, and every one of our sponsors that does Real Talk with Keith Smith, these are pros.
Yeah.
These are pros in the industry. These are folks that help you navigate that from, closure title, right? There is now, there's a transaction going on right now that, we would have not had this 2 years ago, right? All of a sudden people are now talking about, well, what about this easement, right? Well, what about this right away? 6 months ago, 12 months ago, people were just buying stuff to buy stuff. And a little bit of buyer's remorse is coming in, by the way.
Oh, dude, no doubt. Some people buying stuff, Judah.
Oh God, my phone is blowing up.
People buying stuff, and we're empathetic to this plight. Buying stuff 4 months ago, at ceiling price, at a home that may not have been option number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Just because they had to buy something to get in the home. This is how crazy markets are.
Well, let me just stop you there for a second. Some of them, a lot of it was the phonetic.
Oh, no doubt. It was FOMO.
Yeah, exactly right.
It was FOMO.
FOMO. But
so the FOMO was out of control in April. Now the FOMO is evaporated.
And that's a good thing.
But just think about how quickly the market has turned since April to now.
But I went back in preparing for today's show. And I generally don't do this. And, you gave me this advice and I stuck to it, other than yesterday. Once the show is over, move on to the next show, right? But I went back and looked at some of our shows at the end of last year. And we were predicting what's happening now. And part of what I want to do in the second half of the show is kind of pick up a little bit. We were not joking, but we were playing around with a bet. But I want to talk a little bit about the second half of the year and what people can expect to happen, right? And part of why, Jerry, I'm going to 18 is not numbers. Let me get this out.
Okay.
It's not numbers. Check the numbers out of your brain for a minute.
Okay.
It's about skill level, right? It's about the market. In order to get a home sold, in order to get a buyer to buy a home, and more importantly, in order to get from contract to close, the level of skill required to do that is high. You've got to be a pro to navigate this end of it. And that's why I had a phone call yesterday, and unfortunately I can't help them because it crosses a bunch of lines. But similar situation, bought a house sight unseen, no inspections, no nothing, right? They weren't given certain advice on it. Now they don't know what to do. Right? They've got a home that's got black mold in it. I told them call ISC, they'll come and fix it for you.
They bought the house sight unseen.
sight unseen because of this whole FOMO thing, right? And, 6 months ago, that was the case. And to your point, the last 2 months, that's all changed.
Dude, last 2 months, the leverage has swung to the buyer side.
The
You have contingencies, closing costs being covered. You have open house returning. You have agents incentivizing open house engagement with $100 gift card raffles
What year
at
does
the
that
open
sound,
house.
What year does that sound like?
I know. I understand it sounds
So-
like 2018.
That's the point I'm making.
Yeah.
It's not a volume thing. It's not a dollar thing. There's always going to be homes traded, right? There's
Yeah.
always, people need to buy, people need to sell, and all
People
this.
get divorced, people die, people have kids, they grow their family shrinks. The market's going to move.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I guess I got hung up on numbers and stuff, but it's more the skill level is the point that I'm trying to make.
The beautiful 7/8, Yona Smith, the
I know,
principal.
I'm-
Is she? What's the exact title? Is it principal of YRP?
Supreme Commander.
Supervising broker.
Supreme Commander.
Isn't it supervising?
Supreme Commander. You know that there was only a few folks that had 5 stars.
She
generals.
has 6.
I think she has 12. Just like packs them up on that.
Yona Smith, the supervising commander of Yes Realty Partners, is watching
I'm
the
saluting,
show.
ma'am.
She,
Yes,
she,
ma'am.
she says this: a turkey can fly in a hurricane. It will take more refined skills again to work with clients. Talent, care, dedication, and true commitment to build trust with your clients.
I have this all the time. 23%.
She liked supervising commander.
She's-
Yeah, she liked. We love you, Yoda. We wish you were here.
I was
Yoda.
trying to get her to
I know.
come
I
today.
wish she was here.
I know, but she does this silly thing called work.
She would have added to the conversation.
Oh.
All right, so Kevin Yancey's got this. Kevin Yancey's a very knowledgeable guy. Homes purchased first and second quarter at inflated prices aren't going to see the normal equity appreciation.
Kevin, I love you, but I
The
disagree.
slowing
with
market won't support those equity appreciations at twice the percentage for them to see positive equity.
you. So there's a bet to be had. I think you're going to see the second half of the year the appreciation equity closer to 3, 5, 6.
Michael Plecker, that's hilarious. Yona, you're going to love this comment.
Michael, if you keep this up, I'm going to make your butt come in here and get.
Michael, you should come in here. Michael, you're going to love
We got an open mic. Whoever wants to come in
Michael
and
Plecker says
stump
this.
the chump.
Michael Plecker says this. Whenever Yona Smith walks into the office, we all yell, "Officer on deck." Michael Plecker is commenting. The show airs on 15 Facebook pages. It airs on all social media. Michael Plecker is commenting on the joke, the supervising commander. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Joke that Keith made, which is hilarious.
No, I said Supreme Commander.
Supreme Commander. Christopher Eagle says every time she walks in.
It's true.
Every time with multiple exclamation
It's
points.
true. It's true. I tried to sneak out, but it never happened.
Yona runs a tight ship.
Yeah, no. Please. We're joking. Believe me. Well,
She's loving it.
Yeah.
She did the laughing. She's laughing hysterically.
I will
emotions.
get
I love
to-
you, Yona.
I will.
I'm crying.
How many years have we been doing this?
I know, a long time.
We're in our 4th year, right? It's not like nobody who don't know who I am at this point, right? And I've told this the other
You're
day.
Yona's husband.
Literally, we spent too much time. I was at a board meeting, and literally, people know me. I'm chairing the damn thing, and the person couldn't remember my. Yeah. You're Yona's husband. I'm like, yeah, that's right. I'm Yona's husband.
Oh man, she's. Hey, you are missed, Yona. Please,
Always
anytime,
missed.
real talk. Please come on the show. How about this comment that just came in from Greenwood? Given that our area is now a vacation destination with weddings, wineries, breweries, UVA sports, etc., do you see any potential for timeshares here? Keith Smith?
No, I timeshares probably not, but that whole Airbnb conversation
Yeah.
that we had the other day, you're going to see that upticking a little bit. And just to put a fine tone to it, so one of our listeners and viewers, direct messages us after that, and we weren't beaten up on Airbnbs. At least I was. If you're going to do it, follow the rules. Right, and there's a lot of people that are not following the rules.
Well, part of the reason. Here's another thing. Are you ready for this?
Okay, I was going to
If
change
no
that.
one's around to bust your balls about speeding, are you really speeding? If a tree falls in the woods and no one's around to hear it, did the tree really fall? If you rent your cottage in your backyard or your basement apartment or your entire house on Airbnb to make some extra dough or some extra money and no one polices it, sees it or hears it, did you really rent it on Airbnb?
Well, isn't that a big theological question that you threw out there?
I mean, the government,
They made a movie called Do the Right Thing,
the local jurisdiction is not policing the Airbnbs.
so that makes it right?
Judah, do you have anything to add here? Is it speeding if no one's there to catch you speeding?
Yes.
It's still speeding. It's still speeding.
Yeah, it's still speeding, but
If the Airbnb is not
But-
being regulated, is it still wrong?
Yes.
No, I know it's still wrong, but that's what's happening.
Yeah.
That's what people are
Well,
rationalizing.
there's also a portion of it. Now, just to compare speeding to Airbnb is a
I know.
bit-
That was a
Well,
little trivial.
it's
Well,
it's
I would argue the same thing in both of those. Who is it hurting? So in the case of if you're speeding and no one's around, the speeding is to for safety, to keep you safe, to keep the people around you safe. What are the Airbnb laws for?
The Airbnb laws are to help people potentially purchase and rent homes. The Airbnb laws are to maintain taxable revenue in the jurisdiction and
Bingo.
make sure it goes to the right places. If the inventory gets cannibalized by Airbnb and homestays,
Yeah.
people won't have places to live, and the
Right.
jurisdiction doesn't have money to run.
So it's a tax thing, is what
How
it's
the
really.
hell is the Airbnb in the city of Charlottesville not being policed by somebody? We were literally talking like 60 or 90 days about a budget crisis and
Yeah.
we needed money, and the money we needed, we raised taxes on real estate.
Right.
We raised the freaking meals tax. Why don't
So-
we just put somebody,
So that's where the metaphor breaks down.
pay them a wage, and the wage, say we pay them 40 grand, okay?
Oh, but where are they going to live?
Just say they're paid 40. Yeah, we talked
They'll
about
have
that.
to Airbnb.
If they're paid 40 grand, I bet you they
Well played.
return
Well played.
20x what their salary is to the city of Charlottesville.
Yeah. No arguments.
Incremental revenue.
So the point that I was making was the enforcement of it, and it's a little unfair to compare it to speeding, but I get it, right?
To
On the
compare
end
it
of
to speeding, it would have to be in an area where rent is not a problem. Where-
Well, you still get taxable revenue from speeding.
no, but
Speeding drives taxable
no,
revenue.
but you were saying if you're speeding and no one's around,
are you still speeding?
are you still speeding?
Yeah.
And the answer is yes.
And the correlation between those two doesn't match, because in the case of Airbnb, somebody is being harmed by having less stock for rent, less housing that's available for rent.
Or purchase.
Whereas if nobody's out on the road with you and you're speeding, there's no possibility of hurting anyone but yourself.
Unless there's a turtle crossing the road and you hit it. 'Cause
Whoa,
you're
whoa, whoa,
speeding.
whoa, whoa.
Well,
You can't get out of the way
So
of the
let me
turtle.
ask you a question. Who in this room stops?
I always stop and pick up the turtle in the middle of the road
Amen, brother.
and bring it to the grass.
Amen.
I always stop.
Amen. And does that piss the people off behind you?
I don't care.
And I love it when I piss them off.
How
I stopped and shoot a cottonmouth off the road.
You did that with a cottonmouth?
I got a piece of cardboard out of my car, and
Good for you, man.
Okay, I
and I
wouldn't do that.
scooped him off the.
I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, good for you, man.
Somebody told me they would have killed it. And I was like, why? It's a snake. I mean, it's part of our
It's doing its
ecosystem.
thing.
How did the cottonmouth respond to you shooing him with a
He
piece of
sent him a
cardboard
personal. He sent him a personal
It
note.
was
It was really cool.
from the trunk of your Ford?
It was a younger snake. It was probably only
I
like.
think you got a personal note.
The younger snakes are the most dangerous snakes
Yeah,
because
because
they
they
don't
don't let
control
go.
the venom when they bite.
Yeah.
They just essentially use all their venom in the first bite. That was risky.
I mean, he was like a foot and a half, 2 feet long. It was.
That was ballsy.
Good for you, brother.
I used
Good for you.
It was a decent sized cardboard
At
box.
any
I wasn't
point,
get-
did you
I
think
wasn't
about
get-
running the snake over with your car?
No.
Okay, sorry.
You're a good human.
I'm sorry. Neither did I.
You're a good human.
Neither did I. I promise.
Look at that. All three of us will move.
I wouldn't do it for a snake.
Well, what
I would not get out of my car and shoo a snake to the grass.
I probably wouldn't do a snake. I've actually had that happen to me on 53 with a black snake.
I would not do a
I
snake.
just stopped.
Black snake is different.
I just stopped and let the snake do its thing, and then I went my merry way.
I don't mind the black snake. If there was a copperhead or a cottonmouth in the middle of 53 trying to get across the road, I would probably just swerve around it.
I think Liza has something to say about the whole snake thing.
Liza, the dog over here, is wagging her tail. Nicholas Erpy says it's still speeding, but the question is, why is it happening? Why is there a market for Airbnbs in someone's backyard? Because the hotel prices are astronomical.
Well,
there's not enough hotels.
Well, there's multiple things, because we talked about this on Wednesday. It also offsets your mortgage payment, right? There's a income side to that. So, look, I mean, the point is, from my perspective, this was just an enforcement thing. But you're 100% right. So, look, I can't believe that somebody can't figure out pretty quickly what's legal and what's not legal, right?
Yeah.
This is not a difficult thing to do. I may be completely wrong, but it's pretty simple. I just open up my Airbnb and I take a look at the ones that are registered, and if they compare, if they match, great. If not, then they're illegal, right?
Yeah. It's not hard
on that end of it. But we were talking. You guys were talking about housing affordability yesterday. But here's a revenue source. So one of the concerns we're having now from a land trust perspective on that end of it is we now have to bring more cash to the table to help our 80% AMI buyers by double, right? In order to be able to serve that clientele on that end of it, because the interest rates doubled on everybody. Collect the Airbnbs. How about you carve off some of that money and give it out to an affordable housing nonprofit to help people to do that?
You want to know how the rates, put this in perspective, it impacted me. We've been selling businesses. Mm-hmm. We got one into the bottom of the ninth inning.
Lost it.
And everything was there.
Yeah.
Lease transfer, terms.
Yeah.
LOI.
Yep.
We were heading to an asset purchase agreement. Everything was there. Then the buyers of this particular business needed to get financing. And the financing, when we started the negotiation for this business roughly 95 days ago, is completely different than the financing is now.
It's happening that fast.
Completely different. 95 days. And because the financing changed in 95 days that fast, they chose to back out at the bottom of the ninth inning.
Did they lose anything in it?
I mean, time and probably some kind of spending money on attorneys and CPAs to vet the...
Due diligence.
Yeah, due diligence.
Isn't that why housing starts have been slowing down? Because a lot of people have been backing out of...
Yeah, so you're starting to see a little bit of that on that end of it, but most of it is lack of inventory. That's just lack of home sites to go ahead and build on it. It's also the lack of contractors, right? Subcontractors, so forth and so on that. There was always a little bit of backouts. There's always built into that. There just was never any backouts in the last 24 months. So if you have some of it, right, it looks like it's a lot. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So it's like
Neil, go ahead.
I had a traffic engineer explain this to me. Route 53, we'll pick numbers, right? Route 53 is designed to hand 1,000 cars an hour, just to pick a number, right? And it's been at 100 cars an hour for 20 years. All of a sudden, it went to 200 cars per hour. For everybody living around there, it's like, oh my God, the traffic has doubled. But it's still not the maximum capacity of the road. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
On that end of it. So that's kind of, when you make these big pivots, this is the reason why I said, please don't get used to 3%. Please don't get used to 2%. It is not normal. Normal is 7.7% since 1972. That's the average on mortgage rates. Where we're at now is not unusual. It's kind of a normal rate, somewhere between 4 and 6. Is normal, right? We're somewhere around 5.3, something like that, as we sit today on a 30-year mortgage. On that end of it,
with good credit.
It's good credit, but it's interesting. I'm bringing some articles. They're going to start. We talked about this. They're going to start dropping credit scores. They're going to start loosening credit requirements, which is that scares me more than anything.
Oh, dude.
On that end of it.
Dude, Neil Williamson. Neil, we really appreciate you watching the shows, man. And chiming in with support and participation and links and content. I sincerely mean that.
So let me jump in real quick. So go into realtalkwithkeithsmith.com.
Yeah.
There's a partners folder. It's all one a tab. It's all all of our partners on it. Neil is one of them. There's a donate button in his website. Click on it. Donate to them. It's an outstanding organization. They bring knowledge to everybody across the board.
Free Enterprise Forum. Got a fantastic website. So he sent a link for the Albemarle County homestay regulations. These are Airbnbs, Albemarle County.
They call them homestay.
Homestays, Albemarle County only. There are 3 regulations that apply to every single homestay. Do you guys want to venture a guess on what they are?
6 months, right? You got to live in it at least 6 months, right?
Let's see here. Yep.
6 months. Let me see if I can get this right. 6 months. You gotta have to have a business license. If I'm not, maybe that's not the one you're thinking of, but you have to actually record it as a business license. So you have
to have a business license and pay your transit occupancy tax.
Correct.
All right, so let me rattle this off here, then I'll get out of your way here. A homestay in Albemarle County is the rental part of an entire home or less of a home for 30 days or less at one time. They're done through websites like Airbnb, VRBO, Stay Charlottesville, Charlottesville Guest Houses. The homestay requirements are very clear and succinct. Apply for and be approved for a homestay zoning clearance. Homestay zoning clearance application form is $169 plus 4% technology surcharge application. A 4% surcharge for technology. That's freaking hilarious, Albemarle County. You got to pass a fire safety and building code inspection. You have to show a notice of your application and responsible agent contact information mailed to your neighbors. So you have to tell your neighbors. If you serve food to your guests, you will need approval from the Virginia Department of Health. Here's a hint: just don't serve food. Enroll your homestay on the short-term rental registry. I didn't know there was a rental registry. As Keith said, you have to get a business license and pay your TOT tax, transit occupancy tax. A few more, Keith, and then pass it on to you. Only permitted in single-family dwellings.
Exactly
not permitted in townhomes, duplexes, apartments, or condominiums.
Yep.
I bet you there's a boatload of that happening. Parking requirements: 1 spot per guest bedroom, 2 spots for the dwelling itself. Parking must be located on the parcel in a driveway, parking area, or garage.
And all this, by the way, and you have to have it inspected by the county. So that's
Inspected by a person.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that's the second part of it. One is you need personnel to go out and inspect all these.
Yeah.
And then you need somebody to enforce them. It conceivably could be the same person. I would be really interested if somebody can open up an Airbnb account and find out how many are actually. If I say Albemarle County, I'm looking for a Airbnb in Albemarle County. How many pop up? Just out of curiosity. But to your point and to Neil's comment on supply, and thank you, Neil, for doing that. That was the point I was trying to make. You play by the rules, God bless you, good for you, right? But if you're not playing by the rules,
Daniel, multiple people are asking, what are the rules if in an HOA? And we talked about this earlier in the week. The HOA bylaws supersede jurisdictional laws.
So there's very few HOAs in our area that allow that. Belvedere is one of them.
What? Airbnbs?
It likes Airbnbs. You can because they have the little apartments over the top of the garage, the ADUs on top of the garage. I may be wrong. Maybe I'm thinking long-term rentals on that end of it. But as a rule, HOAs typically don't like or don't allow Airbnbs.
A lot of people don't know this. The Macklin building, the building we're in now, is an HOA building. First 2 floors are commercial. 3rd floor is penthouses that go from $500,000 to $1.2 million. We had, and I know this because I'm the president of the association in this building. We had a short HOA, or we had an Airbnb on the 3rd floor, and this particular Airbnb was being rented out as a bachelor pad or bachelor weekend or bridal weekend
And you ruined somebody's day.
For people to come and pretty much get debaucherous in Charlottesville. And after 3 weekends of doing this, and on one Sunday morning of walking into the building and into the elevator to go to my office on the second floor, and seeing a passed out 22-year-old with 30 empty Budweiser cans all over his body on the elevator floor, we decided as a board to change the bylaws. And when the bylaws were changed, the Airbnb business went away.
Interesting. You big meanie president, you.
I mean, there was
No, it's
a
absolutely.
passed out man in an elevator
Yeah.
with empty beer cans in
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
You can't do that.
No, you can't.
Fortunately, it was a Sunday morning and not a Monday morning.
And yeah, what does this mean? Jerry Miller was working on a Sunday morning.
Oh yeah, I work just like you.
Yep, you were
I'm
working on a
constantly
Sunday. You were
working.
working on a Sunday morning, and you came in here and helped the poor fellow out. And
Christopher Eagle did what you said. He went to Airbnb and
I knew somebody was going to do it.
did July 20 to July 27. July 20
In
to
Albemarle
July
County.
27 for Charlottesville to book an Airbnb, and it brought up 152 available. 142, excuse me. From July 20 to July 27. 142. That's a lot.
There you
How
go.
many transactions happened in the first 6 months of 2022
In the city of Charlottesville.
in the city of Charlottesville?
Let me go to the.
You have that data.
Let me go to the
So
data.
we're going to compare and contrast this. This is going to be a good sake of a talk show thing.
Somebody's very happy about
Someone's
238.
very enchanted with Real Talk Outside.
238.
238?
238.
So how about this, guys? The first 6 months of 2022, there were 238 units sold in the city of Charlottesville. That does not include new construction. From July 20 to July 27, there's 142 Airbnbs available for rent.
Yeah.
That is cannibalizing inventory
So
from the
that's
housing market for sale and rental.
But that's also not including the ones that are currently rented during that period of time.
Exactly.
Right.
So that's what he just found.
That's just available.
And this is a popular week.
That's
So you know there's probably 2x that have been rented.
I wouldn't.
Probably more.
Yeah, I mean, it's substantially more than that. Those are the ones that are available during that period of time. Yeah. So, you know, we kind of got off on a little bit of a Airbnb tangent.
It's a good one.
On that one. Yeah, sure. But Judy, you said you had two questions, or did you already ask them from yesterday?
I don't know if they were specifically based on anything we talked about yesterday, but I was just thinking about. So, I've been thinking about this idea of there's we've got the current inflation, which is obviously affecting things, but what about long term and what about long term? So, for instance, as the price of things has gone up over the years, I think salaries have not kept up, which means that inflation has, for instance, I just looked something up and I'm seeing that says from census data gathered between 1960 and 2017 on home prices, rents, and household income, after adjusting for inflation over time, median home prices increased 121% nationwide since 1960,
Yeah.
but median household income has only increased 29%.
So actually, to that point, I actually read an article that came in early this morning from the Wall Street Journal about June's jobs indication was strong. It was 372 nationwide jobs.
Jason Howard just shared that link in the feed. He's the king of Rio Road. Jason Howard,
there you
thanks
go.
for sharing the link.
And there's a whole paragraph written, wages climbed 5.1% on that. Obviously, it's not keeping pace with inflation, but
Yeah.
Well, this is what he said.
And it never has.
He said the economy added 372
I don't
jobs
ever
in
remember
June.
ever keeping pace.
It will never keep pace. It will never keep pace. It can't keep pace.
So interesting.
The
Even
business won't be able to keep going if it keeps pace.
And this is something that I'm worried about. I'm worried about the next year's, and this comment, and I have to read I have not read the whole thing. Even with job growth, there are signs that some employees are shedding workers. So, I'm on one hand, we've got new jobs coming in here. I'm wondering what industries are starting to shed some. Sometimes, so while you
A lot of here, the economy in June added 372 jobs. Unemployment stayed at 3.6%. And Jason poses this question: how do you start a business or grow an existing one if you can't get people to work?
Yeah.
It's
Well,
it's going to be tough, I think, for the next 5 to 10 years.
It depends on the business, right? If you're a contracting business and you need bodies.
We're literally experiencing that right now.
Yeah, sure.
Where you can't even get a day laborer.
Yeah, I think you mentioned it yesterday. You were trying to do something with your.
Like the position is legit. Isn't it called laborer we're advertising to fill for one of our clients? It's laborer. It's a day laborer on a site crew. You don't have to have much talent for that.
Yeah.
Like professional skill, I mean. Can't find that person.
No, I think you mentioned yesterday on the show you're trying to find somebody to change out a garbage disposal or something like that. And
Good luck finding that.
You couldn't find
I can do it.
So do you still need
Yeah.
one? Do you still need
I
one in
changed
your
out
house?
mine.
No, this was for my rental. We eventually found it.
Okay, well, if you ever need help, let me know.
I will.
I actually got a master's plumber's license. So.
You do?
Yeah.
Well, with the garbage disposal, it's tricky. You got to remember to turn off the
Yeah, that's
You got to turn off the electricity.
at the panel.
Yeah,
'Cause if you don't, you know what happens.
Yeah. Don't tell me you didn't.
You
do
get
that.
shocked. You got to be careful.
Is that why the hair's sticking
You
up
gotta
like
be
that?
No, I missed my haircut. I gotta get a haircut over here. My haircut's coming next week. Thank you.
Safety first, Robin.
Turn the
Robin,
panel.
safety first.
What's the panel called? The electrical panel?
It's called the breaker box. But that's okay. I actually have an electrician's contractor's license too. It's called the breaker box. When in doubt, if you can't figure out what it is, it's this really big one on the top that says master breaker on it. You kill the power to the whole house.
I never said I was talented in that regard.
That is true. You never did. Never did. So it was interesting reading through that article. Most of these, the concerns are wrapped around the automobile industry on the layoffs with that, which kind of makes sense. We've got to get Ned Galloway in here soon to talk about Albemarle County Polling and see how his business is doing.
We talked on previous I Love Seville shows. Car Lots was closing a lot of locations.
Yeah. They're keeping this one open, though.
Yeah. He's the GM.
He's a GM.
Yeah.
They're keeping it open because of their,
Because he runs a great operation.
well, plus they have multiple bays for servicing on that.
Oh, that's nice.
And he's well-staffed. So it's the opposite. He's not having a labor problem over there.
Well, that's good, Supervisor Galloway.
Another article from Fannie Mae Home Purchase Settlement, which is interesting, which I didn't read the whole thing. 8 out of 10 consumers, economy is on the wrong track.
The
That's a huge
consumer
number.
confidence is not high.
No, it's
Woody Fincham's watching the program.
Hey,
He
Woody.
says the relaxing of credit requirements and paperwork terrifies the bejeebus out of him.
right, because that is deja vu all over again, right? The Yogi Berra, another Met hero, right?
We got a 30-year fixed mortgage rate. The 30-year fixed mortgage with good credits right at 5.52 right now in June. In January, it was 3.45. And to put it in perspective, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everyone watching this fair and fine program, in January of 2021, the 30-year fixed was 2.74. It is now at 5.52. That means it is 2x.
I'm looking at 5.30, by the way.
You are?
Yeah, I'm looking at 5.30.
He's sent me a link for mortgage rates for, years. Thank you, Michael Plecker. This is
That goes
valuable
back to
information.
72. And if you take a look at that, the average is 7.7. That's a great link. Thanks, Michael.
Yes, Plecker. Travis Hackworth in Danville, a lot of layoffs in car manufacturers because they cannot get the material to make chassis. 100% right, Travis.
Well, then we went from chips to no chips to whatever. But it was just an interesting, I tend to pull these articles early morning on the show, so I don't get into a great detail on them. But some of the headlines kind of catch me. I was a little shocked to hear that 8 out of 10 consumers feel that the economy's in the wrong track. I didn't think it was going to be that high.
Well, how do you feel it is? Yogi was a Yankee, Nicholas Erpy.
That's not true. Yogi Berra
was a Yankee.
Yogi Berra played for the Mets.
Yogi Berra. Okay, let's see.
He was a catcher for the Mets. Maybe I'm wrong.
I definitely remember him as a Yankee.
Well,
I'm looking at the thing. He was, as a player, he played for the Mets for 1 year, 1965. He played for the Yankees from 46 to 63.
But he played for the Mets.
Played for the Mets for 65.
So we're done talking.
He's the manager of the Yankees in 1964.
Hey, Judah, how you doing today?
Not too bad.
Manager of the Mets from
So-
72 to 75.
Yeah.
Also coached Mets, Yankees, and Astros.
I heard something scary as well about mortgages. I don't believe I've heard anything about this in terms of the United States, but I've heard that some other countries are starting to look at 50-year mortgages. In
That's
other
Did you say
ridiculous.
5-0?
yeah,
That's
So
ridiculous.
other
it's
words-
interesting. I was on the phone with
your debt would be passed on to your children.
Yeah. How about,
Well,
how's that any different than the,
yeah. So the rationale, I love you dearly.
Oh,
I
I'm
don't
just-
follow the passing on to it. It's like, what 60, 80-month car loans, right? They're just
7-year car loans?
the amortization is trying to help the monthly payment. We talk about this all the time. Interest rates matter, but people really buy by the monthly rate on that end of it. So what's going to happen, I'm going to live in the house for 10 years because the average person is selling
Right.
in 10 years, unless you're Keith Smith and you don't. And in 10 years
Chad Wood.
on that end of it. And then, you'll just cash out, you'll get your
Right.
appreciation,
Yeah.
and you move on. So it's a tool, right, to go out there. It's just a scary tool
Yeah.
on that end of it.
Well, the 50-year mortgage, the only unfortunate nature of the 50-year mortgage is the obscene interest the owner's going to pay over the lifetime of the loan.
Again,
But it is a vehicle to get into the house to lower the monthly payment. And to Judah's question, you're not passing the debt on to the next generation. The next generation will just sell the house. And when they sell the house, they pay off the mortgage, and whatever is left goes to the estate or the generation as an inheritance.
yeah, I just,
Now you have taxes to pay on
and
that.
it's interesting. Are those European countries?
I think at least a few of
So
them.
I can tell you, in the 80s and the 90s, we used to actually send prefabricated houses overseas. In the 80s, it was
You lost one in Russia, didn't you? Yeah? Isn't that what you did?
No. That's not actually.
The Russian mafia took it from you.
Somebody from Russia took the house, but
Right.
that's a whole different issue
Right.
on that end of it. But historically in Europe, the mortgage rates were 10 years, 15 years. You've very rarely ever seen a mortgage rate going up. So I'm really interested to hear about what countries are doing that 50-year.
Well, Germany is rationing energy now.
Yeah.
Are you following this?
Yeah, that's.
You go to a hotel in Germany, they ration the air condition. They're turning pools off. They're dimming street lights.
So let's define that a little bit. Most Germans don't use AC. The people that use AC are the Americans when they go there.
Well, yeah.
Trust-
Dimming street lights. Germans
Yeah.
need street lights for safety.
Yeah.
They're trying to save gas for the winter.
So I remember living in Bulgaria. We used to go to Romania, which was probably the poorest country in the East Bloc back in the first half of the 80s. And you had power about 2 hours a day. Anything other than that, you didn't.
So what were you using, candles?
No, so the embassies just trucked in obscene amount of diesel, and we ran off of diesel power. But the general population only had power for a couple hours a day.
Yogiisms? You're familiar
Oh,
with
I love yogism.
Yeah.
We've got Yonaisms.
That we do have Yonisms.
We're not going to go there because I'm in trouble already.
We had a Judaism on Wednesday
A
with the sister.
Judaism. Really? I need to know what a
When
Juda
you
is.
said the sister was, she gets around. Yeah. While she was watching the program.
Yeah.
He meant around the globe. Andy.
It's kind of
Around
like
the globe.
Yona's comment about loose men. But anyway,
She doesn't want you to reiterate that
I got
comment,
that. I'm not supposed to
repeat
say
the
that.
comment. You're not
I'm
supposed to
not
bring
supposed to
that
say
up.
that. Thank God I didn't say that.
Neil Williamson's Yogiism, Yogi Berra economic theory. A nickel ain't worth a dime anymore.
The dude was an absolute genius.
I'm not taking that bet, Michael Plecker. Michael Plecker wants to bet a bottle of Woodford Reserve that will have rolling blackouts in America in the next 2 years.
No,
I'm not taking that bet, Michael Plecker.
no. So, yogiisms are insightful. They're very truthful.
Yogiisms are heartwarming, and they make you think. They're
They're
confusing.
There's always truth buried in those yogiisms.
Lee Elberson, good morning, my friend.
Hey, Lee, how you doing, brother? Hey, Semper Fi, Marine.
Always.
So, a dime ain't worth a nickel anymore. It's truthful.
You can observe a lot just by watching.
What's the best yogiism? I'm gonna Google some yogiism.
Oh, no, you can't Google. You got to come them off the top of your head.
I don't know them off the top of my head.
Oh, come on now. You're
This
you're a sports guy.
A
You're
little bit
supposed
before my time.
to- A little bit before your time.
Let me see if
What's your favorite yogiism?
doesn't know. He doesn't know sports.
Oh, he knows yogiisms, I guarantee you.
Let's see. When you come to here's some yogiisms.
When you
Come to a fork in the road,
Take it.
take it. You can observe. You just said that one. You can observe
It
a
ain't
lot
o-
just
and
by
the
watching.
famous one is "It ain't over till it's over."
That was number 3, and ain't over till it's over.
It ain't over till it's over.
Number 4, it's
which is anybody who's an aficionado of baseball. It ain't over till
That's
it's
true.
over. It's
It's life.
it's a true statement.
It's like deja vu all over
Deja
again.
vu all over again.
I looked them up too. Here's
No one goes there nowadays. It's too crowded.
Here's one. You better cut the pizza in 4 pieces because I'm not hungry enough to eat 6.
How about this one? Always go to other people's funerals. Otherwise, they won't come to yours. We made too many wrong mistakes.
Oh man.
But they're genius.
Congratulations. I knew the record would stand until it was broken.
It's genius, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Pure genius.
I
Great,
love it.
great show today, huh?
Oh, dude, it was great. Fantastic show.
So certain, back to the 5 things, right? Price, location, price, features, conditions, location. Some, this is when you need your trusted advisor. One side of a neighborhood might be different than the other side of the neighborhood. Some areas are a little bit deep down on their volume. Some are not so much down on their volume. On the end of it, I actually broke into Lake Monticello's numbers. They are not that different year over year, huge percentage-wise anyway, on that end of it. And, seek out a trusted advisor. Please go into the website, click on the partners thing, and seek out the folks that help make this show possible. They are the trusted advisor. These are the folks that will help you go through this process on the end of it. So please do that. Please.
The website, guys, is realtalkwithkeithsmith.com, realtalkwithkeithsmith.com, where we archive every episode of this show, where you can hear Keith Smith and Smithisms on the program, and the wit
I mean the words
from
I make up?
Judah Wickower. Yeah,
I don't think I made it. I don't think I made up any words.
Not today. There's been some Smithisms on the show.
I tend to make up words.
I like that about you.
I make
it's
up
it's endearing.
Thank you.
Yona, you made the show better today from the HQ over at Ix, where YRP is headquartered. Judah, you made the show better today. Keith Smith, you came on fire today. Out of the gate strong.
I got stuff. I
was impressed.
I got stuff.
You were prepped.
I killed a couple of trees.
Dude, you were ready to rock and roll, and that 20-mile bike ride didn't hurt either. It got you thinking.
Huh?
Keith, Judah, Jerry. My name is Jerry, which I just said.
I don't think I've ever been accused of that.
What?
I think that's the first time I've ever been accused of thinking.
No, stop. Come on. You're a man of many, many, many talents. Many talents.
I like that shirt on you, by the way.
Thank you very much. I Love Seville show is up in 57 minutes. Judah Wickower, thank you kindly for joining us. We'll see you very soon. Take care. Bravo. That was excellent.
Liza's been wanting to come on set. She's been sitting there wagging her teeth. Say, pay attention to me. Pay attention to me.